Good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. Today we're going to take a look at a few articles. One speaking about the peace plan and some words that GREENBLATT has related to the peace plan. I was going to take a look at the aircraft carriers that are opposite Syria right now, and some interesting finds in the Holy Land that confirm the Bible. And I think evidence every day is fascinating at the at archaeological sites all around the world that end up confirming the Bible, whether it's confirming the history of Israel or confirming Noah's flood, the creation of the world, etc. I think all sorts of very fascinating scientific discoveries, archaeological discoveries, go unreported a lot of times by most people, since most people in the scientific world are just simply trying to push their own anti-Bible religion and their own theory about the creation of the world, which is they think is billions of years old. And so when something confirms the Bible, of course, they don't really push that, and the mainstream media certainly doesn't push that very much. All right, starting off, here's jpost.com. GREENBLATT upcoming peace plan doesn't include Confederation with Jordan. So he's coming out based on some rumors that are going around. King Abdullah and Jordan are strong U.S. allies, he tweeted. Rumors that the peace vision includes a confederation between Jordan, Israel, and Palestinian Authority. That's one I haven't heard before, to be honest. Or that the vision contemplates making Jordan the homeland for Palestinians is incorrect. Please don't spread rumors, he says. And so you see the tweet below. So I guess a lot of people are taking what Kushner was saying, etc., and suggesting that Jordan's going to they're going to ship all the Palestinians off to Jordan. GREENBLATT is saying, well, no, that's not the ultimate goal here. It is not the first time the administration has clarified these rumors are false. During October 2018, senior administration officials told Jerusalem Post that the plan would not include a confederation with Jordan. So what is it going to include? It's fascinating, and we're all sitting with bated breath to see what this peace plan really has in it. And it seems to be a great departure from peace plans of the past, which were always two-state solution focused. Kushner and GREENBLATT, fascinatingly, are going a whole different direction, it seems. It seems like they're coming up with almost a one-state solution, and also creating methods where the so-called Palestinians can go various places if they want, whether it be Jordan or have other Arab nations accept and support them. It's fascinating, though, that this peace plan is so markedly different from all the previous peace plans, the Clinton Oslo Accords and all these other peace plans that have come out. It's not a two-state solution at all, and Kushner and GREENBLATT are coming out and basically saying that. So how does it relate to the 7-year period which initiates with the tribulation? How does it relate to the dividing of Jerusalem? Is there a dividing of Jerusalem? How does Israel get their temple? I think it's a fascinating thing, and this is going to come out after the Ramadan holy day in Islam. So it's going to be very fascinating to see. Mid-June is what they're looking at. So after we have the whole month of May to go through before we see any real details about the peace plan. But interesting, as these bits and pieces are coming out, confirming that it's not a two-state solution directly that they're going after. So what is it exactly going to be? I think it's going to be fascinating. This is turning out to be a lot more complex and I think maybe nuanced than a lot of us thought. A lot of us thought, there's just going to be a two-state solution, swap land for peace, and the Palestinians will be happy, supposedly. But no, there's a lot greater detail here, and we still have not seen the heart of the peace plan, I think. So interesting stuff. This is from BreakingIsraelNews.com. New Lachish find adds fuel to the debate. Is the Bible accurate? And really, I think it's just fascinating that story after story verifies the historicity of the Bible, the accuracy of its historical accounts. And day after day, we find more evidence towards it, and there's never an article that comes out and debunks. There has never been an archaeological find that has come out and debunked the Bible. And you know that if it did, mainstream media would be all over it, saying, aha, the Bible is inaccurate in this specific place. And I think it's fascinating after, a couple thousand years, that no piece of the Bible has been debunked archaeologically. It's always been confirmed to be accurate. And I don't know what to say about that. I'm at a loss for words. I think it's absolutely incredible. And if Christians aren't following archaeology in the Holy Land and seeing these and really being energized in their faith, they're really missing out, I think, here. It says the find of 10th century BCE, they're saying that's before Common Era, but that's before Christian Era now, or it was before the Christian Era. Fortifications of Lachish supports the Bible, but not all archaeologists are convinced. Garfinkel, head of Hebrew University of Jerusalem's Institute of Archaeology, announced at the University Archaeology Conference 2 weeks ago that he had uncovered a fortified wall at Tel Lachish. The professor claims that his find is consistent with the biblical account of King David unifying two substantial kingdoms in the 10th century BCE. Of course, the detractors claim that the Bible description is exaggerated, and that the historical David was more of a tribal leader ruling over a modest conglomeration of city-states. So they're always quick to say, oh, the Bible's not true. But then every piece of archaeological evidence that they uncover confirms and substantiates the biblical account even more. What's more fascinating is that the Bible says, some great things about King David, about how rich he was, and the amount that he ruled over, the landmass he ruled over, and the spreading of his kingdom, how far his kingdom spread. And so it's easier if the Bible were to state something like, well, he ruled over a couple cities, then that would be easier to swallow and much easier to prove, if you will, by archaeology. But the Bible states history, and history is confirming that no, King David ruled over a large land area and more than just a couple little cities. And archaeology is proving that out, and it's hard to believe for the archaeologists. But time and time again, the Bible is proved accurate. I'm going to put the link in the description. You please read it. Lachish was a very large, grand Canaanite city. Then in the 12th century BCE, it was destroyed and stood waste for 200 or 250 years. The big question for research in the city is what happened in Layer 5 of the early period of the Iron Age. Is that a fortified city or a village? If it was a city, when was it built? Some say in the time of David and Solomon, in the early 10th century BCE. Others think it was only built in the late 9th century BCE. Traditionalists, it says, also referred to as maximalists, claim that the biblical description of the complex and powerful Davidic kingdom based in Judea in the 10th century BCE are accurate. Critics of the biblical account, referred to as minimalist school, say King David was much less an influential character in history. Basically, that the Bible is being talking King David up more than he actually was. That's what the minimalists, that's what the people who don't believe the Bible say, and I think archaeology is turning out to be actually true, that King David was as big a ruler as the Bible says he was. So all this fascinating, all this is going to come out to eventually confirm the historicity of the Bible, and I think it's fascinating. I think all the people who do not believe and don't want to believe the Bible, they are desperate for any archaeological evidence that disproves the Bible. They try time and time again, yet time and time again, every time they come out with something, it goes and proves the Bible, so they can't really publish their work because it just goes to prove the Bible that they didn't want to do in the first place. I think it's fascinating. And of course, they get no no news media on this stuff, no news coverage, because it proves the Bible, and no mainstream news media wants to verify that the Bible is accurate, because then they might have to believe the Bible. They might have to understand and believe that there is a God, and they wouldn't want to do that. So it's very, very frustrating for non-Bible believing archaeologists, because they never get their stuff really in the mainstream media, because then that would prove that God exists ultimately. I think it's fascinating stuff. All right, a little update on the USS Abraham Lincoln. This is from Degfile. It's deploying opposite Syria, and the U.S. envoy to Russia is aboard this ship, apparently, accompanied by 10 warships. This is a fairly big maritime build-up. Now, they do this now and again, but what's going on? Are they gearing up for a big battle? It's interesting. The buildup of military equipment, tanks in Qatar opposite Iran, and we have 2 aircraft carriers and warships, 10 warships apparently, in the area. They're deployed opposite the Syrian coast in a dramatic show of strength against Russia and Iran. The effect was underlined by the revelation that U.S. Navy sources of the presence of the carrier's command bridge of none other than U.S. Ambassador to Moscow, John Huntsman. His message needed no commentary. When you have 200,000 tons of diplomacy cruising the Mediterranean, this is a forward operating diplomacy. Nothing else is needed to be said. So this is a threat. And again, we don't know what the main purpose of this is, other than allowing Israel to make strikes in Syria. But it's a big, powerful showing, and if they're not going to do anything with this showing, you got to wonder what is Russia going to do about it? What is the actual conversation between Russia and the U.S. right now? Is it that they simply want the status quo and that they want Israel to be allowed to continue to do whatever strikes they need to? So Debkafile military sources say the show of U.S. military-backed diplomatic muscle was timed for Thursday, April 25th, when Putin and North Korean leader were about to sit down for their first summit in eastern Russia, a city of Vladivostok. This meeting was seen in Washington as Putin's challenge of the nuclear negotiation channel set up by Donald Trump with the North Korean dictator. So, there was a news article yesterday that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un came and was in Russia for this meeting with Putin. So why is Putin dealing with Kim Jong-un? What is the deal here? Is there an axis of evil? Is this the Gog-Magog alliance really shaping up? Does North Korea, are they involved and in line with the Gog-Magog leadership? And if we are getting close to Gog-Magog, then it makes sense that Russia is making all these alliances right now. They're trying to figure out who's on their side, who's not on their side. The other big question is, where is the U.S. in end-time Bible prophecy? What happens to them? They got all their military equipment off Syria. If Gog-Magog is soon, what happens to the U.S. Warships, to the aircraft carriers? Do they all of a sudden go away? Does it make sense that if Gog-Magog is this year, that the aircraft carriers would all of a sudden, run out of fuel or supplies and go back to the U.S. or something for a period? What happens exactly? It's a fascinating question that none of us have the answers to. What happens to the U.S. In the last days? I suspect, as I said before, it's a massive worldwide economic collapse, and it takes all Western powers out of commission, out of the running, out of the security situation, the security racket in the Middle East, and so their warships disappear from the Middle East, leaving only Russia and their alliance to march on Israel, leaving Israel all alone, basically, in the last days. And I think this is something we're approaching. But again, what happens to the U.S.? None of this, I don't think, is going to happen until the U.S. is taken out. And so you got to ask the question: how and when is the U.S. taken out of the picture on the worldwide stage with their military might? So something to think about. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it's going to be interesting to watch nonetheless. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll leave this one here for today, and we'll see you guys in the next video.